Welcome to this episode of Flow Wrestling.
One of the guys that comes to mind, we've got a number of them, but I think one of the guys that comes to mind is Otto Olson. Here's a kid that, didn't come from an awful lot, and as far as financially, and lived with his mom out in the Seattle area, and he actually, to get here on campus, he caught a ride with a truck driver. They found out there was some trucker that was coming here from the West Coast, going all the way to the East Coast. He hitched a ride. He threw all this stuff in the back. That's honestly the truth. He shows up on the dorms, but he just didn't have an awful lot. And he was very green when he got here, and some of his teammates had some fun with him early on with him. But here's a kid that just bleeds maize and blue, and he was just an awesome competitor. He was one of the guys that was trained the hardest that I've ever been around. It was incredible how hard he trained. And the other thing that he overcame, he didn't have wasn't the most naturally gifted wrestler. I used to always tease people. I'd say, I tell you what, he might have a hard time getting his shoes tied, but when he gets his shoes tied, you better watch out, because you better be able to wrestle with him for 7 minutes. But he figured out early on that he needed he wasn't going to out-talent people. He was just going to out-wrestle you and out-hustle you, and that's how he won. And I'll tell you another thing. And it's unfortunate what happened to him. He ended up tearing his at the national duels one year. He was second in the NCAAs as a sophomore. Early in the next year, he tore his ACL and his PCL and his knee in a competition. Comes back from that, which is a very difficult surgery to come back from. And we actually had 2 orthopedics in there doing the surgery. So it was a very, very time-consuming surgery. Came back from that, did a great job, and was coming back, getting ready to wrestle again. Of course, this was months later, and was getting up to do a student teaching, and he was driving down. He'd literally ride his bike at like 5:30 in the morning. He'd ride his bike out to high school. It was in early December, so it's in the 30s, probably low 30s, near freezing. And he's up on his bike at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, riding out to do a student teaching. And to him, it was nothing to do that. People thought he was crazy, and they didn't borrow a roommate's car or something, And a car pulls out in front of him. He smacks the car inside, goes over and ends up tearing his ligament right here by his collarbone way back, And that was about a week before we wrestled a meet in December, and I think he came back and it was he was out for a short period of time, but came back and competed soon afterwards. It was just incredible what he'd been through. His body had taken a beat, and he just kept coming back, and ended up being a 3-time Big Ten champion, 3-time All-American for us, NCAA runner-up, but overcame some physical obstacles to be able to do what he did. And it was just really to see him come back from both the knee and the shoulder injury. It was pretty incredible to watch.
That's great. I'd love to talk to him. What were some of the things that the guy used to play pranks on him? Or do?
Oh, he was little green when he came in here, and they'd play some innocent pranks and stuff on him, and team kind of stuff. But I don't want to put any of them on film, but his own were pretty funny. But they were all innocent. He was a great kid. He just came back for a game earlier this year. He's one of the guys I'm most proud of. I just think he's I don't know if the level of pain that he could tolerate was incredible. He wants you to he'd want you to work him into the ground. He'd want you to lift him as hard as you possibly could. He just thrived on it. He won a lot of matches on that as well. Like I said, he wasn't the most gifted guy in the world, but he was a hell of a competitor. God, he'd get out and wrestle, and get after you hard. And so he was fun to watch. It was fun to watch.
FlowWrestling.com